Am I connected or not? It says we're on air. Hey! Literally lose internet for half a second. It's like, and broadcast done.
I'll see you later.
Thanks, Cal. Always on the ball with that one.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
I don't know anything about him. I don't have any medicine.
I will see you later. I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Hello, black lady.
Evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What do you think of your reception here?
Arrived, but we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's...
I'm trying to figure out what's going on with her hair.
Especially welcoming. I suspect they're not
Pretty sure she's not supposed to be turning metallic.
Social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the
America.
situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher.
She's a Black
by
Widow.
profession.
Oh.
I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace.
Oh, she's actually a Black
I can
Widow.
cover any needed medical expenses.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Don't waste your time with me.
Whatever.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
How painful is your
I'm not going to comment on that one.
So painful I've
Oh.
rather not talk at all, Doctor.
We must
I'm sure
communicate.
you realize a doctor
We must.
and his patients have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
How painful is your throat?
So painful,
I'll let you get...
Yeah, no.
don't waste your time with me.
She's gonna sniff people through the wall. Oh, she's worked quite a bit. Yeah.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Oh, hey, it's Josh Gad.
Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm
Look,
convinced
a
it's
lot
the
of people
future.
in Victorian London wore glasses. A lot of people couldn't see.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical,
Yeah.
you may remain
Dan Aykroyd's
empty-handed,
playing
but
like
you
8
won't
different roles in this game.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
And of course,
You
the
want me
package
to play
quest.
the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. What do you think of Dr. Aykroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Aykroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Aykroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement
Well,
could also
time to go
appear
talk
be
to
an
Harvey
act
and ask him what the
of
fuck.
partiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Aykroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Harvey? Harvey, I have questions for you.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick.
I mean, it's not really his fault.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps.
Right? Exactly. It's Germany's fault.
Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans
Damn
sent
Nazis.
Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target.
Actually, that's World War One.
My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
Right?
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then.
Yeah.
The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea.
Bonked her right on the head.
I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Tricky?
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Ooh. So there's a new person over here.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should be a doctor.
General Hospital.
What's your license?
The one that has Feeney in it. Before Feeney was Feeney.
To be precise, I run a little pawn shop while taking care of.
It's
But
Red's
I used to
anatomy.
be a real doctor.
The red is blood.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why
We
should
are
I?
all corpses.
These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
How did you get this job?
He's
After I left
insane.
the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
'Cause it was my sister that bit me.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things.
Anything the dead
So
are
I
holding.
trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients
Wrong ear,
are
cow.
good people. In fact,
Like
I
a
think I
108
only
years
know
later.
Good people.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I'm not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it.
Awkward
What
laugh.
troubles me
Side
is
eyes.
the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios.
Oh, look, he sells opium. Perfect. And codeine. Bye-bye. Make up some purple drink. Got some water, pop, bees. Bees? Bees! Actually, it's fatigue.
My sweet girl.
Hey, Harvey.
Good
Yeah, I read
evening,
your letter.
Mr. Philip.
Good evening, Doctor.
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
Yeah, Kyle. Even if it was a pandemic, I don't think I'd come over to your house if you're just gonna put opium in this purple drink.
We never found her body.
Goodbye for now, Mr.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Dan, how's it going?
Good evening, Miss Howard.
I need blood, Doctor.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No, Thomas is a delicate soul.
We would open every single can and see how quickly we could drown in it.
No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
I'll leave you.
What's all this then? Oh, she's inside, isn't she? Well.
It's locked, all right.
I want to at least find out the wrong target quest. Wasn't he supposed to be brought up? Hi, mate. Come here.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Tell me why you're
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
Goodbye, Milton.
Let me stab him.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Doctor.
How would you
Let's look at the
describe
situation.
It's serious. The flu is wreaking
I
havoc
keep learning
amongst
random
staff
things about
and
people, so...
patients. We are running out of everything.
Get a grip,
You
woman.
must get up.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Probably about 3 years, but it'll depend on the American government. Because they keep fucking spreading it. You.
What can I do for you?
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in. How does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
What kind?
Well, you accepted the job.
Apologies.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
Thank you, Nurse.
Was it Brannigan that had the,
Good evening, Nurse.
Good evening.
Oops.
Goodbye.
Hi, Pippa, bye, Pippa. No, that's why I'm not even at the right place. Take a jog in the rain. You gotta be smart. I actually looked at the bar up there and went, oh yeah, my quest is over here. I never promised I was good at video games. Yeah. Oh, right, because she thinks she's a vampire, so she's being hunted by... Whoops. Oh, that's gonna be fun. And hey, we finally get back to murdering people. Knock, knock. Hi. Ah, yes. Stamina is a thing. Ow! Bastard! I seem to have learned what the taste of fire is. Smoky. I'm going back, though. I'm going back for some murder. Ah, yes. I love loading screens. Murder. Murder, more like it. If you look very closely, that bar is actually moving. Oh, Jesus. I looked away for a second, and that bar definitely moved. What the? And I'm back. Yeah. Yeah, and it's even worse than usual because it's compressed. And I've heard yours, but that's just because Will keeps posting videos of you. Let's try this again. Come here, I want to bet you. Sometimes if that guy did wait his turn.
There's one of them vermin. Doesn't like burning, does it?
Just keep whacking him till he lets me bite him. There. Like I never died. He's better. Project Vampire Tracker facility. 3 days ago, one of our new recruits heard a rumor about the presence of a female vampire hiding in the Pembroke Hospital. All we have to have first name, Thelma. Your mission is to discreetly go there and observe any suspicious activity concerning said leech. Then report directly back to us, and we will decide what action should be taken. Also, if any of you are actually curious, this is based on the TTRPG, the tabletop, Vampire the Masquerade, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's actually pretty neat. I've been I almost got a game set up with it, but it's also a little strange. Because everyone pretty much has to agree what... Ah, get off.